The paradox of true strength. Most of us were taught that strength means standing firm and pushing back and never yielding. When life pushes against us, we push harder. When someone disagrees, we tighten our position. When stress builds, we clench our jaw and force our way through. But here's what we don't see. When we resist everything, everything becomes heavier. The ancient Taoist masters understood something we've forgotten. They discovered that what does not resist cannot be defeated. That the softest things in the world overcome the hardest. Today, we're exploring what happens when we stop fighting life and start flowing with it. The nature of resistance. When pushing creates more walls. Picture this moment. You're in a tense conversation at work. Maybe it's with your boss about a deadline. Maybe it's at home with someone you love about something that matters. You feel that familiar tightness in your chest. The urge to correct rises. To win. To prove your point. So you do what feels natural. You tighten your voice. You sharpen your words. You harden your position like armor. But watch what actually happens. The harder you press, the more solid the wall becomes. The more you insist, the more they resist. The conversation doesn't open. It closes. The space between you doesn't soften. It hardens into something neither of you can cross. This is the hidden cost of force. When we meet resistance with resistance, we don't overcome obstacles. We create bigger ones. Now consider water. When water meets a mountain, it doesn't argue. It doesn't try to convince the stone to move. It doesn't lecture the rock about being in the way. Water simply yields. It moves around. It finds another path. It waits. And yet, over time, nothing reshapes the landscape more completely than water. The hardest granite eventually gives way to the softest flow. Water teaches us something profound about true strength. Softness outlasts hardness because it doesn't oppose. It doesn't waste energy fighting what cannot be changed. Instead, it finds the natural way through. This isn't a weakness. This is in alignment with something far more powerful than force. Think about your own life right now. Where are you pushing against immovable things? Where are you tightening when you could be flowing? Maybe it's a relationship that feels stuck. You keep having the same argument, saying the same things, hoping this time will be different. But the harder you push for change, the more entrenched the pattern becomes. Maybe it's a work situation that frustrates you. You resist the chaos, fight the uncertainty, push against the way things are. But your resistance doesn't make the chaos disappear. It makes you more exhausted. Maybe it's inside your own mind. You resist your anxiety, fight your sadness, push away uncomfortable thoughts. But the more you struggle against what you're feeling, the stronger those feelings seem to become. This is the nature of resistance. It creates exactly what it's trying to avoid. When we clench against pain, pain intensifies. When we fight our circumstances, circumstances feel more overwhelming. When we resist the flow of life, life feels like an endless struggle. But there's another way. A way that doesn't require force or fighting or endless effort. Take a moment right now. Notice where you're resisting. Don't try to change it yet. Just notice. Feel the tension in your shoulders, the tightness in your jaw, the way your breath becomes shallow when you're pushing against something. Now imagine what it would feel like to soften. Not to give up or surrender your values, but to stop clenching against what is. This is where the ancient wisdom begins to make sense. This is where we start to understand why the Tao Te Ching speaks so often about water, about yielding, about the power of what appears weak. The strongest trees break in the storm. The flexible ones bend and survive. The river that fights the riverbank destroys itself. The river that follows the natural course carves canyons. This isn't about being passive. It's about finding the path of least resistance that still leads where you want to go. The hidden teaching, strength that doesn't announce itself. Lao Tzu wrote the Tao Te Ching over 2,500 years ago, but he wasn't writing poetry for poets. He was disguising practical wisdom as observations about nature. When he wrote about water wearing down stone, he was teaching us how to navigate difficult people. When he described how the valley receives all streams, he was showing us how to lead without force. When he spoke of the empty space that makes a bowl useful, He was revealing how to find power in what appears to be nothing. These weren't metaphors. They were instructions. The hidden teaching is this: what resists breaks, what yields remains. But yielding doesn't mean giving up. It means finding a different kind of strength. Strength that doesn't announce itself. Strength that doesn't need to prove anything. Think about the most effective leaders you've known. Not the ones who demanded respect, but the ones who naturally received it. They didn't rule through force or intimidation. They led by creating space for others to succeed. When conflict arose, they didn't escalate. They listened first. They found the underlying need beneath the surface demand. They bent without breaking, and in bending, they often found solutions that rigid thinking could never discover. This is leadership through non-resistance. It's not weakness, it's strategic softness. The same principle transforms relationships. When someone you love is upset, your first instinct might be to fix it, argue with it, or defend yourself against it. But watch what happens when you simply receive their experience without immediately pushing back. You create space. Space for them to be heard. Space for the real issue to emerge. Space for connection to return naturally. This doesn't mean accepting abuse or abandoning your boundaries. It means responding from a place of strength that doesn't need to prove itself through resistance. When you stop pushing, life often moves on its own. Consider your inner world too. We resist our own thoughts and emotions constantly. We fight anxiety, push away sadness, and argue with our own minds. But what if you stopped fighting your thoughts and simply noticed them? What if you allowed emotions to move through you without clenching against them? This is where the deepest teaching lives. The moment you stop resisting your inner experience, something shifts. The pressure releases. The struggle softens. You discover that thoughts are just thoughts. They don't need to be fixed or fought. Emotions are just energy moving through. They don't need to be controlled or conquered. This inner non-resistance creates a different relationship with life itself. Instead of feeling like you're constantly swimming upstream, you begin to sense the natural current. You start making decisions from a different place. Not from the tight, effortful place of forcing outcomes, but from the spacious place of allowing the right action to emerge. This is what the ancient Taoists called Wu Wei, action without force. It's not inaction. It's the right action that flows naturally from understanding rather than effort. When you're aligned with this natural flow, things begin to happen with less struggle. Conversations open instead of closing. Opportunities appear instead of feeling forced. Solutions arise instead of being manufactured. You begin to recognize true strength. It bends. It listens. It remains present even when everything around it is chaotic. This strength doesn't need to announce itself because it's not performing strength. It's embodying it. The paradox becomes clear. The more you try to control life, the more out of control you feel. The more you resist what is, the more stuck you become. The more you force outcomes, the more effortful everything becomes. But when you align with the natural way things want to unfold, when you work with life instead of against it, when you find the path of least resistance that still honors your deepest values, that's when you discover what the ancients knew. That true power flows like water. Soft, persistent, and ultimately unstoppable. So how do we actually live this way? How do we move from understanding the concept to embodying the practice? It starts with the smallest moments. The next time you feel that familiar tightness rising, in a conversation, in traffic, when plans don't unfold as expected, pause. Instead of immediately pushing through or pushing back, try stepping out of the way. Let's practice with something as simple as breathing. Right now, notice your breath. Don't help it. Don't improve it. Don't force it deeper or slower. Just allow the next breath to arrive on its own. Feel how your body already knows how to breathe without your management. This is your first teacher in non-forcing. Your breath shows you what it means to let life happen through you rather than making it happen to you. Now bring this same quality to a difficult conversation. When someone says something that triggers your need to correct or defend, what if you listened first? Not listening to formulate your response, but listening to truly receive what they're experiencing. This creates something remarkable. The space you don't fill with your immediate reaction becomes space for understanding to emerge. The silence you don't rush to fill becomes space for connection to return. Watch what happens in conflict when you stop trying to win and start trying to understand. The other person often softens too. Not because you've convinced them of anything, but because you've stopped pushing against them. This is conflict transformation through non-resistance. You're not giving up your perspective, you're creating space for both perspectives to exist without having to destroy each other. The same principle applies to your inner world. The next time anxiety arises, instead of immediately trying to fix it or think your way out of it, what if you simply acknowledged it? Anxiety is here, not as a problem to be solved, but as energy moving through. When sadness comes, what if you let it flow instead of building walls against it? When frustration builds, what if you felt it fully instead of pushing it away? This isn't about wallowing or being overwhelmed. It's about discovering that emotions are like weather. They move through naturally when we don't resist them. The ripple effect of this practice is profound. When you stop fighting your inner experience, you stop fighting your outer experience too. When you're not constantly at war with what is, you have energy available for what wants to become. You begin to make decisions from a different place. Not from the cramped space of forcing outcomes, but from the open space of allowing the right action to emerge. You start to recognize the difference between effort and struggle. Effort flows toward a natural goal. Struggle fights against the natural way things want to unfold. A river flowing toward the ocean is making an effort, but it's not struggling. It's following the natural path carved by gravity and time. When we align with our own natural flow, action becomes effortless in the same way. This is the art of not forcing. It's learning to work with life instead of against it, to bend instead of break, to yield instead of resist. And in that yielding, you discover something the ancient masters knew. That true strength doesn't come from hardness. It comes from the flexibility to remain present, responsive, and open, no matter what life brings. Conclusion: the eternal return. The deepest teaching is always the simplest. Nothing needs to be forced when we align with the natural flow of things. This isn't something you master once and keep forever. It's something you return to, again and again, whenever life feels heavy or stuck. Begin by simply noticing where you're resisting without trying to change it yet. Let awareness be your first teacher. If this exploration of ancient wisdom speaks to your heart, subscribe to Awakened Origins. Join us as we continue discovering these timeless teachings that guide our spiritual unfolding. Remember this truth whenever you feel yourself pushing against life. What does not resist cannot be defeated.